Hey guys, it's Matt and welcome to another episode of Redstone 101. This is going to be the first of say 4 or 5 episodes to do with the Twisted Treeline map that we made, and I'm basically going to try and cover all the redstone underneath it since a lot of people actually wanted that, because it looks confusing really, but it's actually not. The concepts of the redstone in the map are actually quite basic. So this first one I'm going to be showing is the proximity detectors underneath here, which is how the zombies spawn when you're nearby. The second episode then will be about the towers and how you can destroy the towers, how you shoot them, how you lower the defences and stuff. And then the third one will be also about the towers. It'll be about its defences, like pressing this button here. It just launches a load of things at you, so the tower's defences. That'll be the third episode. The fourth episode then will be the jungle buffs, the jungle creep camps even. Like this one here, you press it. Now you may notice that nothing spawns just then, because the way I did this one is, nope, it's nothing to do with that, it's because I'm on peaceful. Easy. There we go, so things will actually spawn now. The only difference with this map as opposed to the one that's the release map, this is slightly outdated, this map, because with 1.3 it seems that you can't spawn zombies inside the blocks and then push them up. That's how I concealed all of the dispensers. Let's see. See, that happens now. Now they jump out and start walking, but that was a problem for the people who were using it, which is why we had to change it a bit. And that goes for the zombies as well. So instead now the zombies actually just spawn out of the walls and you can actually see it. And I think you can click that one. Whoops. Well, you won't be able to actually because we fixed it. Like I said, this is an outdated map. But anyway, that's the fourth episode. That'll be the jungle buffs. The first episode, which is this one, is going to be the proximity detector. Now, this is probably the most complex redstone in this, well, it's not actually. It looks it, but it's actually, I wouldn't say it's the simplest, but there isn't much to it, and it's this yellow and orange bit. Now, the way the proximity detector, that just doesn't roll off the tongue very well, works is to do with, I really wish I had world edit at the moment. Oh, it's to do with the experience orbs. Now the way it works is I had to make it 2 blocks down, because if it was just 1 block underneath, which is how it used to be, the XP orbs can actually just come through the floor and you'll gather them, which isn't fantastic really. Now the way it works is, of course, these are all loaded with experience, so that when you shoot this, like if I just fire something to that, in fact, there we go. So they're in there now. If I get some glass out, actually, I can show you. Glass, because what I'm going to do with these ones is, since the amount of redstone under here there's lots of it, I'm not actually I won't be rebuilding all these to show you. I'll just explain how they work, and you should be able to see how to build it really, because it's fairly simple. Or then again, that is just me. So as you can see, there's experience orbs under there, and they actually follow the player, which means when no one's there, they'll stay still. But when someone's moving around, and keep in mind there's actually loads of these. I've got not hundreds. I've got like 20 or so of these at every place. That's not brilliant. They can go through glass. Brilliant. Okay. And as you can see, if they walk over here, they'll actually hit the pressure plate. Now, if they hit the yellow pressure plates, if they actually hit the yellow pressure plate, let's actually go through the tower. That corresponds to the yellow wool down here. Now, these bits here. The yellow wool is where I've got the wooden pressure plates, so the experience orbs go over these, and of course, since there's a pressure plate there, it powers this redstone. All these yellow blocks all come to here in a line, because the way this works is I've got a grid of 5 blocks, or 5 like sections full of the experience orbs, like these yellow bits and the orange bit there. You've got 1 square here full of it, another square here, 5 along, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 across. So there's actually 25 lots of the experience orbs in the chambers. And then all these do is I've taken them in lines of 5, and then move the hardest part here was just trying to get the redstone to get all over here without crossing, which is why it looks so complex. See how I've had to put blocks here to stop those connecting. They all come out to here, and then this line of 5, I've actually just duplicated this. So this section here. So from here to here, I've actually just duplicated 4 times more. So it's the same stuff all the way over, because I did it in a grid pattern. So all these are in a grid. So since these 5 all work and they don't cross this bit here, I can just duplicate it over. Ignore the orange bits for now. That's not as bad as it sounds. That's not as bad as it seems. What the important bit is this bit really here. Because what might happen, of course, is all of these get gathered up here and they go to the zombie spawner. But if the experience orb was to land on the wooden pressure plate and then stay still when the person moves off, of course, it would keep inducing a current, so zombies would keep spawning even if no one's there. That's where this comes in. And I've actually had to expand this out a little bit further because to make it fit, see how the two on top, I couldn't put, so like, this is a blip device. I've used this in a few episodes. So that's the input there. We've got the block with the torch on, which is that one, which is there. And then I've got a block there with a repeater that's set to 4, so it blips long enough so it can recognise. If it was 3, it'd be a bit too quick due to the amount of lag that it causes. And then the final torch comes out like that. The way I would do it, so if I might as well just show it quickly. The output is here, so you can just see it. Oh, no. Hang on. And then, of course, that... Well, no! That's asking for trouble having TNT there. Get rid of that. God damn it, I panicked then. Okay, so say like if I was to put a torch here and power it, like that. It stays on completely, but that blipped once if you saw. So if I stay here, in fact, time set 0. See, it... Nope. Okay. So now I'll press it now. It went on, then went off. So that's what this was for. So if the plate stays pressed down, so say like if this is a plate here and someone steps on it forever, it'll only blip once and turn straight back off. That's what these are for. But as you can see, this redstone comes up a block. But if I was to do that, this block would be in the way since I had to stack it down. So the way I got around that, of course, was to just move this back. So have it there. Take that top bit of redstone off and just curve it around like that instead. So that's all the blip devices. So basically we've got all these plates which detect experience orbs. The experience orbs move if the players are nearby. There's 25 of them, so there's more chance of pressure plates actually getting hit. I suppose it would be a way you could walk your way around it and not activate them. But one of them will get set off. It'll come along here. It'll blip it, regardless of whether it stays on or not. The pressure plate might just go on and off straight away, but this will standardise it. So if it's a tiny blip, this will make it into a standard size blip, really. So if I was to do that, it stays on. If I just do that, it stays on slightly longer, so it does standardise it into a set length. It doesn't really matter, but all this does, it turns it into a blip regardless of what the input is. And then each row, of course, as you can see, all is tied onto this one. Then every other row is like that. Then finally all the rows are using this. It's sort of like a ladder, not sort of like a staircase style. All it does is this layer here will then, if any of these gets powered, it'll go up to here onto the next level. And of course, if this level gets powered, it goes up onto this level. If that level gets powered, that one, that one, that one. So basically, all the pressure plates are wired up to this. That like come to this block. I turned it to sandstone just so I could make an example of it. So if any of the pressure plates get touched by an experience orb, it blips everything. Like this bit of redstone will turn on then off. Which that's all it is. All that yellow redstone, that's all it does. Those 25 pressure plates, or 50 because they're in twos. If any experience orbs go over that, this bit lights up for a brief second. And that is all this is. Now, of course, that's not just it, because blipping it like that isn't fantastic, because we don't want people to run back and two, and make it blip loads of times to spawn loads of zombies. If that was the case, people could just do that. They could run circles around one of them. The experience orbs will keep passing over the wooden plates, and zombies would spawn all the time. That isn't really ideal. So this is an AND gate here, and ignore this bit for a second. And basically, one side is tied to this side of the AND gate, and the other side of the AND gate is tied to this. Now, this is a 15-second timer. So, when this is active, all that happens is, ignore this, this is how it turns on. At the start of the game, it'll induce a little current, and then that'll just cycle around for the rest of the game. The only reason it looks so complex is because this blips every 5 minutes, and I only want one blip to be recognised. So after one blip, this doesn't let any more redstone through. So, this sort of makes it seem more complex than it actually is, but ignore this. Just picture this as being a circle like that, and it's got a current going around it like that. That's all it is. 15 seconds, it'll do it again and again and again, and that turns this torch off once every 15 seconds. But that has another problem, because technically what this will do is this will blip when there's a player nearby, and this will blip every 15 seconds. So that'll blip every 15 seconds, that'll blip when there's a player nearby, so this will light up, and this goes to the zombie spawners, by the way. This will spawn the zombies when there's a player there, and if it's the 15 seconds. So that'll make sure it's once every 15 seconds. The problem with that is, this only has a blip, and it doesn't matter how many there are. Chances are, if it blips on, off, on, off, on, off, this only stays off this only turns on, or turns off even, for like a fraction of a second. The chances of those two both being on, off at the same time even, is pretty damn unlikely. So that's what this thing does. This is a monostable circuit. So if I was to just like take that out a second, say if this is a blip like that, this will actually stay on forever. This is an RS null latch, so technically that would stay on forever. But it also sets this going. This is a 16-second timer. Now, well, I think it's 16 seconds. I might have shortened them actually. Oh no, yeah, because it comes up here as well. And then after 16 seconds, this actually goes to the other side of the RS null latch and resets it. And as you can see, it turns off again. So the RS null latch we've covered before. I changed the state of the one side of it. Whoops. What? No. Oh, I know why. It's because it's still taking that through there. Right. Okay. That doesn't happen in this. That doesn't happen in the game because it blips. So this won't be on for as long. This is just a long current because I had the torch down for ages. So anyway, don't have to worry about that. All this does is it extends the blip to a 16-second blip. It's a long blip, but that's all it does. This stays on permanently. But it also sets this going, and after 16 seconds, this will go to the other side of the RS null latch, light that up, but turn this side off. So after 16 seconds, that turns off again. So the blip gets turned into a 16-second blip. Now the reason that's 16 seconds is that's 1 second more than this. So what that means is it only needs to detect a player once, and it's guaranteed at least one wave of zombies to spawn. If the person keeps staying there, after that 16 seconds, chances are it'll blip again, it'll turn this on again, and then it'll allow another wave of zombies to spawn. So it makes it more likely that zombies will spawn, in theory. It does, it's just that, of course, with lag on the server and stuff, it sometimes stops it and just doesn't blip, which isn't ideal. But that's basically how the proximity detector works. That's a timer, that's what the blue is. Now, the final thing I've not covered is the orange. Now, I said that this blips every 5 minutes, and that's true. There's a big 5-minute timer in the middle of the map, and this brings it over here. 5 minutes because the experience orbs, they despawn after 5 minutes, which isn't ideal. So that's why those dispensers have loads of experience orbs inside them. Every 5 minutes they'll despawn, but every 5 minutes as well, this has another set of redstone. This has another impulse of redstone, and this actually goes to every single one. Like all these orange all these orange blocks have a dispenser above it, and then I've had to do it vertically, the wiring, so it's a bit delayed, but it's the only way it works. Again though, I built this whilst I made the yellow bit, so I just copied it all at the same time. So you'll see that if I come over here, this goes off there and then vertically up 5 times, of course, because there's 5 on that one, and it also snakes its way underneath through all the yellow. It doesn't actually touch any of the yellow. The orange and the yellow don't interact at all, they're completely different. But they just go up, this gets powered, they all get powered. And if I was to actually do that, you'd probably hear a few experience orbs break, since I'm so near. So if I just put a block here again, and then put some redstone, there you go, you hear them all. And of course, for some reason, they activated, but it doesn't matter because it just blips. And I'll cut it off so it's not going to do anything. But that's basically it then, and I suppose the only thing left to show is the 5-minute timer. And that's this big purple thing. There's more compact ways of doing it, using the item inserter thing that I showed, which is how I did the shops as well. I could technically have made a 1-minute timer and have 5 of those, and then that just goes into that as a redstone current instead of an item. It's the same concept, but I'm just confusing you there if you don't understand that. All this is I've counted the amount of ticks. I've made one top, which is a minute, and then I've just copied it down 5 times, or 4 times, and then wired it all up. And then the game starts when people pull 2 levers. One lever here, one lever here, basically. They both pull their levers, turns this on, Then that goes back there to open their gate, back there to open the other gate. This RS and all doesn't actually have anything else on it. It's just so that if someone was to unpull their levers, it wouldn't stop the game. As soon as this turns on, this will keep it on. So even if that turns off, this will still keep everything on. Then the redstone current, since that's permanently on, then comes through here, goes through a blip device. It's a little bit longer because of the amount of lag that's happening because everything's firing at once. Comes through here, blips it once, and sets the 5-minute timer going. But of course, it goes along here through all the orange. All that goes to is the others, the top lane spawners, and then that launches all the experience orbs into the map. And that's basically how the detectors work. This is probably the most confusing episode yet because I'm sort of confusing myself. Well, no, that's a lie. I know exactly what I'm on about, but I can see how, if someone's not too familiar with Redstone, how confusing this might look. But it is pretty simple, really. It's just that there's lots of it and it looks confusing. But other than that, that's basically it. So if you enjoyed this episode, let me know. George should be back tomorrow, so there'll be more videos with him. We'll be able to build at last because his server will be back up. And we'll be doing more on RuneCraft because I don't really have the motivation to build on my own. I sort of prefer playing with George when it comes to building. Because building on your own, doing RuneScape, it's not fun. Well, on your own it's not fun. Building with someone else, I really enjoy it. I do enjoy it. But building on your own, it's so mind-numbing. Because you've got no one to talk to keep you sane. I just don't like doing it. So I hope you enjoyed the videos that I've been making. This Redstone, the Guild Wars sort of skit the other day. I'm sort of running out of ideas, really. That's why I'm doing this. But this was requested, so I hope you enjoy it. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.